Welcome to Metroplan's 70th anniversary, a celebration of 70 years in the contribution of Metroplan. Today you're going to hear from several executive directors, including Jason Ruby, Jim McKenzie, and Tab Townsell, people that I'm very lucky to be able to follow to lead this great organization.
So leading businessmen in the community and in the 1950s who were civic leaders and business leaders. And in conjunction with the mayors and the county judge in Pulaski County, decided that they needed a planning organization. So it was really one of the first planning organizations like that in the country.
And they understood the need for some kind of a mechanism at the governmental level to allow the local communities to cooperate with each other and to coordinate their activities. Through its research, and that was the major operation of Metroplan, research into census figures, population changes, employment patterns. It gave the local governments the opportunity to plan ahead. And it gave, for example, the opportunities for the cities to reserve open spaces for parks and recreational facilities. So what we were doing was doing research 20 years into the future and giving the local governments the opportunities to look ahead and act in advance rather than reacting to crises.
God bless Senator Moynihan from New York. He's chair of the Senate Banking Committee and wrote the Intermodal Surface Transportation Act, which fundamentally changed transportation planning in the country and empowered metropolitan areas and gave us a lot of funding to do transportation planning. The board decided to reorganize away from a general council of local government, focus more on the transportation planning function. So mayors, county judges, the highway department, and transit authority became the board of directors, and that's what we did. I think the 1967 comprehensive plan laid the groundwork for a lot of things that then the local governments did after that. And then I think Metro 2020 was really significant in changing the way we did things. We did extensive public outreach, used visual preference survey. One of the things that came out of Metro 2020 was the need for rail grade separations in the metropolitan area. The board made a commitment a couple of years after we adopted Metro 2020 to fund the rail grade separations in the metropolitan area. I think from the time we passed Metro 2020, we were really focused on implementing the changes that we identified in there. It reflected a fundamental change in thinking in transportation planning, from building wide roads to building communities that were multimodal. You know, the one thing that I want to emphasize, I was lucky enough to serve with some really extraordinary local elected officials. We played backup to their initiatives and helped them with planning and helped them with critical funding gaps, River Trail, the Big Dam Bridge, River Rail. I don't think would have happened if we hadn't been there to back up the initiatives of the local officials. Some really extraordinary public servants who were farsighted and supported us in doing our work. The one other thing that I think where we really made a difference in that time period was in water. In the late 90s, we started a regional water discussion about where to look for a third water source to serve the metropolitan area. And out of that discussion came merger of Little Rock and North Little Rock water utilities into Central Arkansas Water, which is one of the premier water utilities in the nation. And so those kind of voluntary cooperative efforts, I think, wouldn't have happened without our initiative and support.
One of the things that I think was a great initiative during my years as executive director was our new model planning guide for our cities to adopt. Primarily, the smaller cities, but the UDO, this has got elements in it that's primarily, take it off the shelf, you could adopt it as a small city, but it has elements in it that the larger cities could replicate too. It's got good ideas there. I am very proud of the fact that we did start putting a lot more attention on the small cities. Small cities have been along for the ride. They've been faithful participants in Metroplan for a long time, but just because of the financial issues they face, they don't have a lot of match money. So it's not about getting grants for those people. It's becoming part of a regional voice, a regional understanding of issues, and just a chance to network with other people that are going through the same thing. So the real shining star, though, for my time at Metroplan, I think, is the Regional Greenways initiative. It dawned on us that when you start looking at a history of our funding, what little bit of monies we don't get the large monies coming into the region from the federal government. We get the smaller pot. But we can make a much more regional impact, putting together a regional arterial bike system, bike ped system, that allows us to get around where we couldn't get around, provides paths and options for active transportation that we previously didn't. That's a long time goal, but we can build a lot more bike trail and make it a lot more arguably regional by doing that than building roads.
When I started at Metroplan, I didn't know a whole lot about Metroplan, but one thing that I've come to learn and appreciate more every day is the impact that Metroplan has had in Central Arkansas. On my wall is one of my favorite maps. It's a 1957 plan for Central Arkansas, but it's amazing how much of that vision is currently part of the fabric of Central Arkansas. But it's much more than just that. If you look at projects like the Big Dam Bridge that Central Arkansas is known for, Two Rivers Bridge, the contribution to Hendricks Village, and the visioning that occurred as part of that process. Metroplan has had an impact on those substantial projects. Most recently, the Southwest Trail, as well as the Old River Bridge connection, are examples of projects that Metroplan worked with our jurisdictions to envision originally as a Slane Parkway and now as a rideable bike path. So under my leadership at Metroplan, one of the things I've been most proud of is our cooperation and building of partnerships and how that has led to grant opportunities. Starting first with the Safe Streets and Roads for All grant, a grant that is improving safety for all of Central Arkansans, and built a connection with MIMS, and we're going to be working with them on some notifications. But also the CPRG grant, an example of Metroplan going a little beyond our traditional area and working with Northwest Arkansas and Fort Smith to bring home a major grant win for the state of Arkansas. A lot has been accomplished at Metroplan in the last 70 years. I'm very excited to be able to partner with the Arkansas Department of Transportation on a Smart Streets plan that is going to look into the future and what we can do transportation-wise to take advantage of technology in the transportation sector. For those 70 years, Metroplan has been a leader in innovation in Central Arkansas, and I look forward to this next 70 years where Metroplan will continue to serve and lead Central Arkansas in innovation, transportation, development, and quality of life.